anyone asked themselves that question? That's a very, very philosophical, deep question. The physicists certainly do. Anyone else? The economists, the lawyers, so you did law, did you say, in the first year, and now you're doing political science. So political science is economics, commerce, yes, accounting, yes, marketing. So we've got the commerce people kind of on this side, and we've got. But yeah, so I think it's really important because, and it might take many years for you to kind of come up with that answer. Right? It's not something that you can come up with overnight. You might ask yourself, okay, what do I really want to do in life? What do I really, really want to do? So your current degree, the degree that you're doing, it's 3-4 years, right? After 3-4 years, you're going to go either in the profession that matches your qualification, or you might decide to do something completely different. Or you might go into the profession that is in line with what you study, but then a few years later you say, this is not me. Which is kind of what happens with me. My background, does anyone know here what my background is?
I'm an engineer. So you are an engineer?
Yeah, my professional background is engineering. So I did computer engineering, then I did a PhD in telecommunications engineering. Then I worked as a postdoc and an assistant professor in Japan in wireless communications. Then I suddenly said, this is not me. I said, this is not me. I don't want to work in engineering anymore. I don't want to be an engineer. I want to work on improving people's quality of life. Just like that. Just like, we've got technology. I've got my iPhone. It's not making people any happier. Today we've got all this technology. It's not making people any happier than 30 years ago. So there's something missing. So I was more interested in trying to solve that problem. Why people are still not happy, why society hasn't evolved with the same rate as our technology. Just kind of my background in technology is what I did. So so basically I lost meaning in my work. I lost meaning. I couldn't understand why I'm doing this. Like why? Yes, I did 10 years of very hard work, writing lots of research papers and working my ass off during weekends on New Year's Eve, writing papers on telecommunications, wireless communications. But when you lose meaning in all that, you can't stay there anymore. You can't, because it's not you. When you really realize you're not doing what is you, you will turn your back towards that, and you find what is you. A lot of people go through a period where they're quite lost. Some of my friends that, kind of in a similar kind of boat, but they still don't know what they really want to do. So they lost passion for their profession, but they still are not sure what they're passionate about. So they're kind of searching. They're searching for meaning. It's sustainable meaning, which means a job which is what they love to do, but also pays the bills, so that they can make money from it. And so that's something that I think is really important to realize now rather than in 10 years' time. The reason I say that is when I was where you are, first year, second year, third year of engineering, I wasn't very satisfied with my degree. But I just didn't know what else I could do. I just didn't know. And there was no one who could ask me the questions that I'm asking you today to fast forward or speed up the process. So there was no catalyst, there was nothing to kind of push me out of my comfort zone to do something different, which I might be more passionate about. The other thing that, my first profession is cartooning. I'm actually a cartoonist, since before I was an engineer or anything else. I did a lot of that. The reason I got into engineering is, I'll tell you the story so you kind of get an understanding of the background of why I even did engineering in the first place. I was very interested in maths and science, particularly physics. So I taught myself, I used to, when I was 12 years old, I had a physics gem dictionary in my pocket. So whenever I went shopping with my mum, I could just take that out and start reading physics terms at the age of 12. I taught myself electronics at the age of 12. In 7th grade, I taught myself calculus. I borrowed HSC physics textbooks and started reading it. Which is probably nothing normal. You don't see that every day. Right. So I was passionate. No one told me, not like my parents didn't say, "Oh, you got to learn this and that." I just enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it. And the funny thing was, I remember I used to borrow this thick HSC physics textbook, and I started reading the most boring parts first because I wanted to save the exciting parts for later. So that was quite funny. But you know, so I was very passionate about these things, and I really wanted to become a physicist. My dad told me, and we had a friend who had a PhD in physics, but he was unemployed. But so he was worried about me. He's like, "Don't do physics, please. You'll be out of a job. Do engineering instead because it's more practical." So I said, "Okay, fine." So I did engineering, and because it was the closest thing to all the maths and the physics and the science and this. But I had already lost passion in it. Why? Because I went through the education system, which was all about achievement, assessment, and kind of achievement-oriented, basically, learning, which pretty much pushed me away from the passion I had for learning towards, okay, I've just got to, you know, achieve. And some of you that have done research is the same ideas, like publish papers, publish more papers. Not learn more interesting things, do more interesting, you know, create something more meaningful, purposeful, do good research. It's not about it. It's like papers. That's all it is, right? So I did engineering. I didn't really enjoy it, but then I kind of didn't know what else I could do. So I did a PhD. That's what you do when you don't know what to do. Just do a PhD. That's the solution. And then, so after that, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I became a postdoc. I went to Japan. I just wanted to get away from everything here. After 2 years, everything was fine. I was like publishing papers. It was fine. But then after 2 years, I started questioning what I was doing. It's like, why am I doing this? What's the point of this? Why am I publishing all these papers? Who reads them? How does it improve people's lives? So I started questioning all that. And so I suddenly started doing different stuff. I talked to my boss. I said, look, I want to start mentoring the students on how to improve their well-being and so on, because I felt like a lot of students were stressed out and so on. So I started doing that, and then I got a lot of satisfaction out of doing that. So it was a lot more meaningful and purposeful than writing research papers in wireless communications. Right? So because I found something which I found more meaningful and I was more passionate about, I started doing less of what I was supposed to do, what I was hired to do. And after about a year, I went to my boss and said, you know what, I think I need to resign because I'm not the same person you hired. I've just kind of lost interest in this kind of work. I just don't see meaning. When I come to the research meetings, I become frustrated because I feel you're just talking about things which don't make any sense and they're not important. I didn't say that to him, but I've got to move on. I didn't, yeah. So, and he kind of understood because he could see that I'm very passionate about the mentoring programs and those kind of things. So then that's what I did. I resigned and I came back to Australia, and I was kind of no idea what I'm going to do next because of all my background's in engineering, but that's not what I want to do anymore. So what do I do? So I started a company. So that's what you do when you don't know what to do, you just start a company. And the reason I started a company is because I knew the kind of things I want to do. I want to run workshops on how to improve well-being, how to enhance leadership management. So that was kind of the area I was interested in, and psychology was the other area. But I just needed. No one's going to hire me because I'm an engineer. No one's going to hire an engineer who wants to teach about psychology, right? Certainly not the psychology department. And so I created a company so I can run workshops for corporates. So that was my idea. But not any corporates, the engineering, high-tech corporates, because then I can relate to them because I'm an engineer. So I started doing that. Very hard to find clients. Eventually, after 1.5 years, I got a few gigs here and there. 3M. So I did a workshop ran a workshop at 3M. I kind of teamed up with another life coach, and we ran a workshop, which was fun. It was really fun, but it's just hard to keep chasing clients all the time. That's what business is. You've got to keep constantly look for clients. No clients, no business. You don't get a salary. On the other side of my company was developing edutainment, which was basically animations and illustrations and multimedia, which teaches you something useful, not just pointless stuff you see on TV, which just you laugh for a little bit but you learn nothing. So edutainment means entertainment, but educational entertainment. So that was the concept of edutainment. So the idea was, okay, there's some good research which people should know about, turn it into an animation, turn it into something interesting, and push it out there instead of writing a paper. Because paper, 7 people read. On average, 7 people read a paper, a research paper. The author, the author's mother, the author's father, the author again because he just wants to see his own paper. But actually, I'm not exaggerating, but on average 7 people read a paper. All that hard work. So instead of that paper, you just turn that into something which is meaningful and fun for people to watch and learn something. So that was the other side. But it was hard to create a business out of that because, who are the clients? I try to find people who had something to share, and my first clients were basically small businesses who wanted to describe what their business is all about. So we created animations for them. So that was the other side of my business. So there are 2 sides, which was good, which was fun. But I just got exhausted of managing the whole thing and managing people and 2 different sides of the company and not paying myself but paying everybody else, and just I said that's enough. I need a salary, I need a job, but I still want to do what I want to do. So I kind of found a gig here, started teaching project management, and after a while I became full-time, and I'm now doing exactly what I was doing when I wasn't getting paid, but I'm getting paid for it. So I'm teaching the same stuff that I was doing for free. So I used to go to community centers and just run free seminars on leadership, motivation, positive psychology, well-being, engagement, all that stuff. But now I'm actually teaching it to students. That's my job. So finally, I can say I'm where I wanted to be 3 years ago. When my parents thought I was mad, they almost wanted to disown me. Like, this is not my son. He doesn't want to be an engineer, he's not my son. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. What I'm saying right now is, for me, it took 29 years to kind of suddenly click, hey, this is not me, and I have to do something about it. You don't have to wait 29 years, you can start thinking about it now. So what I'm saying is, don't suddenly quit your course and then just run out, into the brain and then try to, what should I do? But think about it. Start thinking about what you really want to do, what you find meaningful, what you find purposeful. What is your calling? Ask yourself, what is my calling? Right? And how do I do it? And so going back to what basically the theme is, how do you gain confidence? Go after what you truly believe in, and you will have confidence to do whatever it takes. I am an introvert. I was probably the most shy person you'll ever come across. Do I look like it now?
Not at all.
And I still am. I haven't changed. It's like when sometimes when I'm in a place where I don't particularly fit in, I'm quiet. I don't talk to people. It's like, why am I here? I'm not out loud and extroverted. I'm not. But when I'm doing what I'm passionate about, what I find meaningful, I'm right out there. I'm willing to give my life for it, that kind of thing. And that's what I'm telling you. Find out what it is that you're willing to give your life for, not your time or energy, your life. And you will have confidence. It's not something you learn, you already have it. But find your calling and your confidence comes out naturally. So that's kind of my advice on that. Leadership, because that was kind of what we talk about. Leadership is a buzzword nowadays. Everyone talks about leadership. I think it's become just another buzzword and it's being misused everywhere, it's thrown everywhere. Neither Gandhi nor Mother Teresa nor Martin Luther King went through a leadership development course. They did. What makes them great leaders is not that they learned about leadership and went and exercised it. They did what they truly believed in. They were willing to give their lives for what they did. And that's what makes them great leaders. That is it. There's nothing else. They were willing to give their lives for that calling. That which basically not that everyone says this is what you're here for. And they were not going to compromise that for anything. That's it. That is what leadership is in a nutshell. I just told you 10 more basics. That is leadership. Great leadership. Then there's second-class leadership. Now, that's fine. I'll talk about second-class leadership, which is about leading organizations and CEOs and all that stuff. But there's a lot of ego behind that kind of